Hello all, Namaste. My name is Prince Aryan and I am from class 5. Today in this video my grandfather is going to speak some lines about the necessity and the importance of English in India. So Namaskar Grandpa. So please go on with your lines.
Dear learners, let me just tell you something about the importance of English in India or the necessity of English in India. You know, you know all that English is, of course, it was a language of England, but now it is no more the language of England only. It is just a global language. As the most of the countries of the world, they have accepted English as the second language or as the compulsory language, and India is one of them. And India got its independence in the year 1947, August 15. But after that, there was just a revolution in India about the existence of English in India. That whether English will stay in India or English will go with India, go from India. The thing is that after a long discussion, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru just said that. I exactly remember that Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru said that English must stay in our country as a second language, though he has given importance on the first language or the mother tongue of every state as the first language. He has also given importance on English, the second language, as the most essential language and the most necessary language for the people of India. I want to tell you some lines about why the importance of English in India. Now, English is of course a language by which most of all the scientific development of a country depends on. This means that science and technology is just the most important factor for a country, and India, if it does not accept English, then it will be dark in science and technology. So Indians, are especially the future generations of India, Indian students, they must learn English to be well acquainted with the English, with the science development of science and technology. Number two, of course, dear learners, please remember that India is not only wanted to make development in science and technology, but India should make a complete development in trade and commerce. Trade and commerce just makes a country progressive, prosperous, and rich. And in order to be rich, in order to be progressive and prosperous, India should learn English in order to make the country developed in trade and commerce. Especially in trade, while of course I am going to tell you about the trade and commerce, let me just tell you that international market, not national market but international market of the world just depends upon the spread of English language, and Indians should be well acquainted with this language to develop in trade and commerce. Dear learners, let me come to the third point. Third point is the development of industry. As you know all that India is a land of agriculture, but agriculture is not sufficient. Industry, the development of industry is also necessary. And in order to make the development of industry, English language is necessary, because the machinery on which of course the industry of a country depends, that has been imported from other countries, and especially without English, no industrial knowledge, no industrial output will be possible. This is number 3. So dear learners, now we have just come to the end of number 3. Let me just continue. Let me just start number 4. For the fourth point, English has a great necessity for the development of computer science and information technology, IT. Indian IT sector and Indian computer development has been grown in a miraculous way, and for which one has to depend on the English language for computer science. And next, number 5, the fifth point of importance is that uh, in order to have just a development of the periodicals, magazines, and the uh, journals, most of the, so to say, the two-thirds of the English journals, English magazines are just published in the English language, and Indians, in order to be acquainted with the general information, the general knowledge, they must have to depend upon these English journals, English informations, English newspapers, and they should read English. And the fifth point, what I just want to focus on is that English should be studied by the students in the school level and in the college level in large number. It is because it will just take us from darkness to brightness. And English is of course a language of great culture, great civilization, and great heritage. And almost all the countries almost all the countries depend on now, on present condition, they just depend on the English culture, English style, English growth, and English designs. And Indian students especially, they must have to know the English language in order to find out the various international cultures of the world. Let me tell you another important thing. The sixth point is that English is of course virtually a language of style, language of communication, and language of intercommunication, so to say. And today, English is perhaps the most easy, the most cheap, and the most understanding language in of the world, used as the language of communication, in which Indians, they talk, they speak, they converse with each other uh, in and abroad. And the point number 7 is that Indians should be well acquainted with this language, because by that they will just know their own culture, own tradition, own heritage, own historical importance. Because almost all the history books, all the politics books, they have been written in English language only. So that's why it is of course a language which makes us to develop in our civilization, or the growth of our civilization. Now, let me just tell you another important point for which Indians depend upon this language is that it is now used in our country as a compulsory second language. Compulsory second language in the sense, in the schools and colleges, students, besides of reading their own mother language, their mother tongue, they are just bound to read English language, uh, for which they have just to be developed in English language for their future. So, uh, keeping all the points what I have just explained with you, what I have discussed with you, it can be better said that of course English is the only language which is of course the international, not only the international language, but it's the language of every country now. So before concluding, before giving the final speech of my necessity of English in India, I want to tell you something about two important personalities: Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, the ex-Prime Minister of India, once who said that English cannot be abolished from India, English cannot be avoided from India, and English cannot be uh, dislocated from India, because English is the window language for the people of India. And another comment, of course, I want to invite Lord Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten, the last Governor General of India, when India was granted independence, at that time Lord Mountbatten was, of course, our last Governor General. And Lord Mountbatten said, whenever Nehru asked him, the then Prime Minister Nehru asked him, Mountbatten sir, of course you have left our country, and what should be your greatest contribution to India? He said, very humorously, very comically, of course, he said, my dear Nehru, please remember that we have left your country, but we have not left our language. We have just focused on the English language, and I am sure Indians will learn English so sincerely and so obediently that after 10 years, when I will visit this country again, I will see that Indians will surpass the Britishers, will surpass the English people in this English language, and at that time English will be no more a foreign language for them. English will be a native language for them. Thanking all of you.
So, Grandpa, after hearing all these points, I have a doubt in my mind. My question is, if if in India English is so important and so necessary in our country, then why it is our second language? Why not our first language?
First language means in order to give a prestige to our mother tongue, our regional languages, Hindi. Especially Hindi is just a national language. So in order to give importance on, besides of giving importance on the necessity of English, we have just to give importance on Hindi, because in future English will not be, according to Nehru, English will not be our second language. Our first language will be Hindi, because Hindi is just the mother tongue of India. That's why he has just divided this rule that Hindi or any other regional language of India will be the first language which will be taught to the students, and English will just be taught to the students as the second language.
Okay, so that means that is why our Hindi is our first language and the English is our second language. So friends, I hope you understand why it is a quite way of necessity and importance of English in our country. So these all points are very important. You can also note down it in your copy. In conclusion, I just want to thank my grandpa to again come into one of my videos of my YouTube channel and say something to my viewers and audience.
Thank you.
So friends, I hope you like this video, and for such more fun and amazing videos, be sure to subscribe my channel, like, and also share your thoughts in this channel only. And if you want to know about the independence of India and how did India become independent, you can go to the description box, or you can click this I button at the top of your screen to see that video. Bye all, see you in the next video. Thank you so much.